Hello, everybody. I'm John O'Loughlin. Welcome to McDuff Lives, and welcome to our Friday live chat with Marcia. And what else is going on? Well, it's my birthday, so let's go. And welcome back, everybody, and welcome back, Marcia Keith. Hello, honey.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
How about before we even get started?
What?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. That was beautiful, Marcia. Round of applause for Marcia. Yeah. All right. And I hope everybody who has a birthday today is having a happy birthday along with me.
Yes, I hope so too.
And I hope that your birthday is a happy birthday, everybody, whenever it is.
And good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And I shouldn't say good morning because it may not be morning wherever you are, but hello, good day, even good evening if you're in that part of the world. Thank you for being here.
Indeed. Thanks for being with us here at McDuff Lives on Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we're happy to sort through the news highlights of the week or whatever else is on your mind. So put it up in the chat if you like, and we'll try to get everybody's comments in on the show today. But what else is going on besides, of course, my birthday? It's
yeah, well, lots of peace efforts happening. There's the release of the hostages in the Middle East and the Southwest Asia. And, where you and Harley had such a good conversation about that on Tuesday, where does it go from here and what's going to happen? And I think everybody's watching Hamas and looking to see what's going to happen with Hamas and them giving up their weapons. And I keep reading about all this violence that's going on over there because now the Palestinian groups who oppose Hamas are still a threat to Hamas, and so they are staying armed. So it's still to be TBD over there, but we all keep our fingers crossed that the worst of it is over. And then it looks like President Trump is still working to broker peace between Ukraine and Russia, and old Zelensky's in town today and visiting Trump to see if he can't get some more of those Tomahawk missiles, which is a real threat to Putin. So, those two conflicts, I think to me, those are some of the big issues going on around the world.
I think the latest on the Tomahawks is that yesterday Trump says no. He said we need them at home. We can't let you. We can't let our Tomahawks go to Ukraine because we need them here. We have thousands of them, but you can't have even one because we need them all here. Well, that's kind of foreboding. I hope we don't need them here, but it's an excuse for him not to give the Tomahawks to Zelensky, which I think is a good thing because it is so.
Right.
I mean, it is so. What's the word? Well, inflammatory. It provokes Russia to go
provocative. There you go.
Yeah, provocative. And in Russia is like, how many times do they say, look, if NATO gets involved in shooting at us, then we're going to have to shoot back at NATO. And that's World War III. And
it sure is. But you know what? I don't mind the fact that Trump says we need them here, not because we need to use them or are planning to use them, but because by having them, it is a deterrent to those who might threaten us.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And Paula is making a comment about Zelensky. Good morning, Paula, or good afternoon.
Yes. Hello, Paula.
Let's see.
Zelensky's in Washington meeting with Donald Trump in a few hours. Yes, they're going to have a lunchtime conference, I believe.
But when Zelensky's plane landed, and I saw this video just an hour ago, nobody from the U.S. government met the plane.
Isn't that
there was
interesting?
some military people that showed up, but basically nobody. No vice president, no president, no secretary of state, nothing. So it looks pretty bad for the Z-boy.
Isn't that interesting? Not even some kind of a envoy. Wow.
I think Trump is saying, "I've had it. I'm done."
Yep.
You know, and certainly on the battlefield, it looks like the Russians are making some very serious territorial gains. However, you know, the war is not really about territorial gains so much as it is about attrition and just grinding down the opposing army, and that is so sad. But that's what happens. It's like World War I in the trench warfare. You know, 1 million, 2 million people fighting on each side, and 99% of them with rifles, or
Mhm.
grenades. I mean, this is humanity turned upside down.
Yeah,
It's just murder, and it's so tragic for everybody.
it is.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Trump, I get.
Corky notes that Z has no cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
A reference back to one of his previous meetings when Trump referenced cards. You know, you don't have any cards or something like that. And
okay.
Zelensky go, I'm not playing cards. You know, he didn't quite get the idiom.
Yeah, but we've always suspected, or I mean, almost assumed that Zelensky is just a front for some group of powers that are probably Kolomoisky and other Ukrainian oligarchs, maybe some other people we can't name, but the idea is that he's representing some really dark characters that are, these are not Democrats. These are not Republicans. These are, dictator types.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're not nice people. They're not people who care about you and me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes today. If they have any kind of an announcement, or I don't know if they're planning any kind of a press thing. Speaking of press, 15 out of hundreds of reporters who normally cover the Pentagon, I read this morning that 15 are left. That all the others have turned in their credentials and have left the Pentagon. And of course, mostly they're the conservative outlets or the foreign outlets or a few individuals who are just freelancers. But yeah, the Pentagon has required media to sign an agreement that they will only cover that which officials have approved. And there are only 15 who are willing to agree to that. So that's a little bit creepy to me. It's it's a lot creepy to me because number one, it's this whole First Amendment thing that really does trouble me with the Trump administration. But also, how do we as Americans know what's going on in the Pentagon if the reporters can't be there?
Well, the answer would be from the Trump side, that they're all fake news anyway. So they're not going to tell you what's going on. They're fake news.
Not all of them.
Well, Trump would say they are.
Well, Trump would say they are, yeah. But, that still doesn't give him the right to deny them their First Amendment rights. To deny us First Amendment rights.
Well, look, this has been going on a long time. It's just this first time it just happened with the military taking action under an emergency order within the United States. And when we went to Iraq, the press had to be embedded.
Mhm.
If you're embedded, that means that you're only going to go and see things that the military wants you to go and see.
Well, in a war zone, come on, that makes sense.
Well, I think that what we're looking at is looked at as a war zone by the military. I do.
Brightmore notes that generals are also being downsized and combined. Yeah, a lot of changes over there. The
Downside,
Pentagon.
what he means by downsize is to put it on diets.
That's right. Well, was it Trump or Hegseth? I can't remember which one during that meeting who said, "We're not going to have fat generals roaming the halls."
That was Hegseth, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that man.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize he had all those tattoos.
Oh, does he?
Oh, my God, yes. And his tattoos are very strange. But Brightmore asks a question. Curious, John, do you think YouTube gave you a strike because of your pending legal action?
Well, no. That strike probably came because I quoted the JFK movie. What was it, a week ago when I did a show?
Yeah.
And so, I have two YouTube channels, McDuff Lives 3, no, McDuff Lives 2 and McDuff Lives 3. But those two channels, both of them took down the show because I had quoted and they gave me a strike warning, and I said, look, it's fair use. I just I didn't play the movie. I just did a fair use, in my opinion, but they didn't accept that. They gave me a strike.
Okay.
So, no, it wasn't about my threatening to sue them, and I haven't sued them, and I don't want to sue them. I mean, who wants to get involved in litigation, right?
Right.
But there are lawyers that will take a case like this, I believe, and I haven't pursued it. I heard that George Webb got his channel back, and I'm thinking maybe one day I'll get my channel back and I won't have to do anything. But am I mad enough about it to file suit? No. I'm moving forward, guys.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look. Corky has a friend that was embedded in Iraq. I wonder what his impressions were.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And that's a new term, I think, isn't it? When the press was embedded.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard that before until I believe it was Iraq.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think there's always been restrictions on the press, and people like, John Ford in World War II. I mean, the press is brought there in order to produce propaganda. It's not brought there to show the other side of the war.
Okay. I don't know. I'm thinking about, I remember during the 90s and Desert Storm, and I felt like that was the first time that we actually were able to see war live and to get a sense of what was happening in country.
Wolf Blitzer was a green screen. He was standing there in a studio.
He was. But the night that we bombed, when we went in,
shock and awe.
Yeah, when we went in and began Desert Storm, and there were the two reporters, Peter Arnett, and I can't remember who the other one was, and they were in a hotel room watching and showing us the bombing as it was happening. That was a turning point for CNN. That actually put CNN on the map, but that was still an amazing thing and very, very unprecedented.
And horrific.
Yeah. I worked in the media at the time. At the time, I was working for a national radio network.
Mm-hmm.
And for the next, I don't know, week, I think maybe, it might have even been a couple of weeks, we had round-the-clock live coverage. And my job was not related to news. My job was to be in the production department producing entertainment shows. But they brought in everybody who was a producer to cover this round the clock coverage. And so I'd have to go in at like 3 o'clock in the morning and actually provide either engineering or production support for the live coverage, and then do my regular job during the day. It was a very, very strange time for me. Thankfully, I was young and could go without sleep.
Well, you got all the skills that you brought here to McDuff Lives with you, so we're grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, let's talk about Bolton.
Bolton surrendered to the courts today. One of the most egregious aspects of Bolton's sending classified docs to his wife and daughter is that Bolton's emails were hacked by Iran, who threatened blackmail.
Yeah, did you read the indictment?
I didn't read the indictment itself, no.
Yeah, I did.
And tell me about it.
Well, it's I don't understand how somebody in his position could be so stupid. You know, he's got a skiff in his house, right? Up in Montgomery County, Maryland. You know, a skiff, right?
Yes.
Those are pretty hard to build. They're rare and
they're rare and very expensive
very
to
expensive.
build.
So, but they put one in his house.
Okay.
And so he's using the skiff, except that when he finds something juicy, he emails it to his wife and his daughter. And these are just the most obvious violations of the secrecy of these communications that are supposed to be like super duper top secret.
Right.
And so, of course, Iran and probably everybody else, Five Eyes, everybody else is hacking his email system and getting into all this stuff. You know, he can't be that stupid. He must be doing it on purpose.
No, he claims that the only things that he emailed were unclassified.
Okay, well, there's where the fight is.
Exactly.
And you know, again, Bondi says one thing that doesn't mean it's true. I don't know about Bondi. You know, I don't know about Cash Patel. I don't know about Bongino. I mean, I don't know about these guys because they're not doing nothing on Epstein.
Well, Bolton says that they investigated and determined there was nothing there. And so, you know, now this is just.
But he did the investigation.
No, it was an investigation during the Biden administration, I think, and I'm hesitating because I think there was some action actually after Trump fired him.
I want him to be guilty. I want him to be locked up. I can't stand that guy, Bolton.
Yeah.
I just can't stand him.
Yeah. You know, he keeps coming back like a bad penny.
Yeah.
You know, he comes up, something, you know, happens that we go, oh no, he's wrong. And he goes away. And then like years later, he shows up again. Brightmore also says, posted in comments, interesting video featuring Mike Benz on DARPA's use of music as psychological ops warfare. I remember when they did that to Noriega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think, you know, I think Mike Benz is a great resource. I watch his stuff on my X feed, not all the time, but a lot of his stuff. And I really think I actually did a show featuring his speech at Hillsdale College, where he laid out how the National Security Act of 1947 includes plausible deniability, and how that's the source of all of our deception in the way that the people are just deceived by the State Department and the government, completely deceived into thinking that, Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, or, anything else you want to say, that 9/11 was 9 guys with box cutters. This plausible deniability is everywhere. Matter of fact, when I talked to Tony Anton Chaikin this past weekend, and he will be back on the show, but we had to postpone. But in the conversation, I was talking about what I wanted to go over and everything, and he says, they've just covered everything with plausible deniability. It's
Hmm.
just it's just covering everything up. Yeah, and that's what's happening with AI. That's what's happening with these Grok and Chat GPT and all, is that they're putting together a narrative, and they're gonna get rid of all the stuff that doesn't fit with the narrative,
Right.
and that's going to be history. And if you don't accept that as history, then like in Great Britain now, you can get locked up for
Yeah.
not accepting the official line.
Right.
You get locked up.
The official line. Exactly. Exactly. And you touched on it. Was it yesterday when you were talking about populism and, that fellow whose book you were reading, whose name is now just totally escaping me?
Harari.
Harari.
Yeah.
And he's talking about
It's like Hatari, only without the T. It's Harari. Remember
Harari.
Hatari?
Oh yeah.
No,
No, that's the Munsters.
Born Free.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, Harari.
Yeah, yeah. And just that whole notion that there is only one truth, and populists believe that there are different perspectives, but yet the fact is there is only one truth. And I just find that so scary that anybody would even promote that idea, that anyone would even have that idea. Yet, and so many people out there believe that there's the truth and there's the conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And if it goes against the accepted narrative, then it's a conspiracy theory, and it's certainly not the truth.
That's exactly the problem, isn't it? And that's what our media does. Is it tells that's the way it is, and if you don't believe it, well, then you're a conspiracy theorist.
Yep. Well, Brightmoor certainly has a lot of things to say today, bringing up well, why is this? There we go. Regarding autism, CDC recommending splitting up the MMR shots into 3 injections. Have a feeling that the MMR is far more responsible than Tylenol for burgeoning autism. Compare rates of increasing autism parallel to MMR injections. Yeah.
I'm with Adam Finnegan on autism. I think it's the same problem, and that is the disablement of the immune system through massive vaccines. What do little kids get 81 injections now? I mean, I can't even think of that. It's so sad.
Yeah.
And giving them a Hep B. Nobody ever even heard of Hep B 50 years ago.
We certainly didn't have those. And I have shared with you, we have some friends who are both now passed away, but they had a grandchild who was born completely normal. And at some point when he got his MMR, I don't remember what age he was, he started having seizures, continued having seizures, was diagnosed with seizure disorder. And the poor child had so many seizures that his brain was just very badly damaged. And he ended up dying when he was 12 years old. But those were he had 12 years of suffering with seizures and resulting brain damage and physical disabilities and just, emotional and mental disabilities. It was heartbreaking and how do you feel as a parent when you have this perfectly healthy child and then you take the healthy child to the doctor because you're being a responsible parent and you say, yes, please vaccinate my child. And then the child becomes so desperately, horribly ill. I can't imagine a parent dealing with that. That's just, and no, doesn't happen all the time, but it happens.
But Governor Pritzker is here to assure you that autism is perfectly normal. We're just now diagnosing it. We didn't diagnose it before.
I'm suddenly starting to see all these reels in my social media feed of what to me looks like an average person, young adult, going, I've just been told that I have autism and blah, 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 blah. And it's that thing. It's like that's perpetuating this notion that, oh yeah, we've always been surrounded with autistic
Sure.
people. We're just now diagnosing it.
Yeah.
You know, I've met some autistic children and adults. And for the most part, I mean, maybe I've met some who are autistic and you can't tell, but for many you can. And that's just, if you're so minorly autistic that a person couldn't tell, then great, good for you. But what the problem is there's so many more children that have severe disabilities and severe inability to function in a normal environment.
And no bowel control, for goodness sakes. What a problem for everybody in their family.
I didn't know that
Oh,
part
it's
of it.
true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
These
Right.
adult,
Wow.
adult children with autism, they have to change their diapers all the time. It's unbelievable.
Well, there's all different,
No,
and they call it a spectrum because there's all different manifestations of autism.
well, there's some bad ones too. And I'm just, oh, this people want to know why we didn't vote for Harris or Biden or the Democrats. I mean, a lot of it has to do with we don't trust the CDC anymore. We don't trust the government to tell us what to do about our health. I mean, and that's the only answer is to when you see the results is like I don't trust them anymore.
I think that is when I began to recognize that what we are told is the truth is not. To me, it started with recognizing that there were so many health issues that we're being given bad health advice, that there is evidence, there is research that demonstrates what we could do to protect our own health, the health of the planet, the health of our communities. And we're not, instead, we are being given very, very bad guidance and very, very bad education on what is and is not healthy for ourselves and our communities. And that's when I began to see, wait a minute, I can't trust these people. My interest is not what they have in mind. It's the interest of Procter and Gamble or, Kraft or whatever corporation that is owned by Vanguard, that is owned by Blackstone. Forget it. This is all about keeping the corporations rich and satisfying their shareholders, not anything about my health. And if they can lie to me about health, what else can they lie to me about? And that's when I stopped trusting the government.
Yeah, and the lack of transparency. Just look at the Kennedy assassination. I mean, again, it really is undo the coup time. If we don't undo that coup, then we're going to be getting fake narratives right and left for eternity. We've got to do it.
Yeah. Undo the coup. Brightmore does add, autism starts as a brain injury due to inflammation. Immediate adverse effect. Yep.
Inflammation sounds like somebody got an injection.
Road Warrior brings up the number of oligarchs taking up residence in Israel are a smoking gun that will be impossible to ignore. Okay.
I really think, everybody needs to think of Israel as a project of the British Empire and the empire as it extends into Wall Street and American banking and the worldwide, the global corporations. These are the empire today. Is these unstoppable corporate entities that have all the rights of a human, except for that they never die. And so you can't get rid of them, and they keep getting more and more wealthy because they are the ones with enough money to buy the congressman, and but Israel is there and became a country because of the interest of that empire that sits behind, behind the British royals and in the city of London and all and Wall Street and the bankers and so the oligarchs are like they're not the real power, but they're like the bad guys, in a Superman movie or something. There's got to be a bad guy, and they're happy to do it because it makes them rich.
I always think of, and I can't remember the character's name in one of the James Bond movies, this big guy who sat in a chair with a white cat, big fluffy white cat. And he would pet the cat while he'd say, "My dear Mr. Bond." I can't remember his name. Something Blofeld or something like that. Maybe that's what it was Blofeld. Anyway, Brightmore says numerous cold fusion plants are popping up globally, with some predicting unforeseen gains by 2028.
Are there any in the United States? What's going on with the United States? I asked this to Harley, on Tuesday, and because we're talking about cold fusion and the fusion alternative to nuclear power, and then the small nuclear reactors
Right.
that could be, powering a town or a village instead of a million or two people. Maybe it just powers 50,000, but it's not going to blow up, and it's something that the local people can manage, and they probably could have everybody could have one of these by now if it weren't for the greed that keeps people on oil.
Well, Brightmore says Sam Altman is building Hellion, a cold fusion production facility in Washington state that will feed electricity to Microsoft's AI.
Okay. Yeah. Did you see there's new national stories now about Virginia having, is getting all these data centers?
Oh, Virginia's the data center capital.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really popping up right now.
Our friend Mark, who's a professional truck driver, was telling me about how he was delivering parts to one of these data centers that they're building. He said they're just huge.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a story actually in the Washington Post that was an interesting. The Post is doing this more and more, and I do not like it. It's like this. It's like it part text, part photographic essay, and it showed all of these photographs of these data centers right adjacent to residential communities and high schools and these big, huge, massive buildings that become the backdrop to all of these otherwise residential areas. And I can't imagine allowing this in residential areas. It's got to be done in a manner that has it isolated, because not only is it big and ugly, but it's loud, very, very loud.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
The top 5 stories from October 10th through 17th, 2025, according to Grok.
Okay.
Okay, what's the first story?
I would have to say the hostage release.
Number 1, U.S. government shutdown enters 3rd week amid political standoff.
The press love this 3rd week language. We have just completed 2 full weeks as of 2 days ago. But for the last 5 days, starting Monday, they said we are now in our 3rd week. No, we weren't in our 3rd week. We absolutely are still in the 2nd week, but for some reason, 3rd week has triggered something. I don't know why everybody keeps referring to it that way, but anyway, okay. And the shutdown is terrible for the people who aren't getting paid, whether or not they're working. I feel very bad for them. But and I said this from the time Trump brought in Doge to streamline things. I think that we all know that our federal government is bloated and inefficient and needs to be streamlined and cut back. And if this is the start of it, then wonderful. And I can't imagine how everybody is so, I mean, for years I heard everybody complain about federal workers and how there's too many of them and too much government. And now all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, these poor federal workers. I'm sorry. I am sorry for them. And they are going through something difficult that you and I have both gone through. And so many people working for the private sector have gone through getting laid off. It happens. That's just the nature of business. It's the nature of government. It's the nature of everything. Now, this shutdown is because everybody's acting like a child who is elected to any office in Washington, D.C. All of them. They're all acting like they really don't care about creating and running a government. And I think that it's absolutely unforgivable the way they are behaving. But it's a very complex situation.
Well, it's about getting reelected, of course. The Democratic Party wants to get reelected. The Republicans want to get reelected. So it's an opportunity to blame the other side for something bad happening. It's as simple as that. And as long as the Democrats think they're getting mileage out of holding up the government opening, they're going to do it. And as long as the Republicans think that they're getting mileage out of it being shut down, they're going to keep doing it. And that just shows you the power of lobbies and money in our Congress. And it's like I said in earlier in this week, I said we should be having a no Congress day, because we really don't have a Congress that represents the United States people as it's supposed to in the Constitution. It's a perfect example of
right. The Congress represents the corporations.
They represent their stakeholders, and it's all about stakeholder democracy as opposed to citizen democracy. I think that's a good way to put it, frankly. Stakeholder democracy. If you're not a stakeholder, you don't get a vote.
I love that. I'm hesitating here because stakeholder can be a vague term, but you're right. It is about stakeholder democracy. But, the lobbyists, these lobbying, these corporations are spending so much money on lobbying. And, one of the websites I love is Open Secrets. And you go to Open Secrets and you can find out so much about who is funding the politicians and how much money is being spent on, and who is spending the money and how much money is being spent on all of these PACs. And then you look at the money that the lobbyists that are being spent for lobbyists, it's like in the billions and billions just on one issue. And I don't think most people realize that. I don't think they realize how much money is flowing around in Washington, D.C. to do the bidding of the stakeholders.
Yeah. But that's what it's become ever since the coup d'etat of 1963. And I'm not saying it wasn't that way before, folks. I'm just saying, look, the head of state was assassinated. Come on, that's a coup. Let's start treating it like a coup.
Brightmore says, I would like to hold the stakes being driven into the vampires of the world.
All right.
Stakeholders and stake drivers, says Corky. And also, Corky says, dollars are votes. One man, many dollars, many votes. Yeah, but I don't think it's one man. I think it is the corporations. Yes, because I think the one person represents big corporate interests.
And, the whole APAC and dual citizenship and I am a Zionist, pronouncements like Biden said he was a Zionist, for instance. These type of things are all throwing the blame on Israel for what is really a policy driven by the empire behind the curtain.
It would be interesting to ask Grok, how much money does AIPAC spend on the U.S. Congress?
Oh, we didn't get to number 2 on the list. Do you want to go through it?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Let's see. All right, number 2, Gaza ceasefire takes effect after
Okay.
2 years of war. Hostages released. Okay, what's number 3? Anybody? In the chat room, anybody want to put number 3?
Let's see. I'm still thinking for myself, too. I'll wait until anybody chimes in.
Number 3, Nobel Peace Prize awarded to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado.
I wouldn't have gone there in a million years.
I never heard of this person,
I hadn't either.
and I haven't really studied it. People are saying it's ironic because she really supports Trump, but I don't know if that's true or not. But that's what
Well,
I've
you know,
seen.
Code Pink issued a scathing essay about what a horrible person she is and how she really has a horrible human rights record, and she is not anybody who works for peace. I don't know.
4 and 5 are natural disasters. Devastating floods and landslides oscillate 300 Mexican towns, dozens dead. Heavy rains in central and eastern Mexico triggered flooding and landslides. And number 5, 7.4.
Wait. Before you move away from that, when you said flooding, I thought it was going to talk about Alaska because, like, this whole town in Alaska got flooded out. I actually am not familiar with the disaster in Mexico.
I wasn't either. I didn't know about it.
Huh.
Yeah, here's the necessary narrative tagline. I have to read the whole little paragraph. Devastating floods and landslides isolate 300 Mexican towns, dozens dead. Heavy rains in central and eastern Mexico triggered flooding and landslides, cutting off 300 towns and causing dozens of deaths and missing persons. Rescue efforts continue as climate-related disasters exacerbate the crisis.
Okie dokie.
Oh my God.
Because there were never, ever any floods,
floods before.
prior to climate change.
Yeah. Oh, and climate
Hello,
change.
Noah? Ever heard of him?
Yeah. No, Noah has never heard of Noah.
Yeah, Noah's never heard of Noah. How did I miss that?
Don't worry, I'm here for you.
Before we move away from it, Corky says she dedicated the prize to DJT on record. So I guess this is referring back to the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize.
All right. I guess she does support Trump. Yeah, as far as the media is concerned, the ceasefire is holding. And knock on wood, I just keep waiting for Netanyahu to do something, or just you guys, you violated the ceasefire, so we're coming back.
Oh, he already has done that. He hasn't come back with weapons, but he has said you violated the ceasefire with returning the remains of the hostages, so we're cutting back on aid. We're going to cut aid in half. Yeah.
Well, you can count on him to do whatever he can to make sure there's never any peace in Southwest Asia.
That's right.
And the last one is another disaster. 7.4 magnitude earthquake strikes Philippines, Mindanao. Aftershocks follow. A powerful 7.4 earthquake hit Mindanao, followed by a 5.7 quake in Leyte on October the 12th. Yeah. Leyte Gulf.
I didn't realize the second one was only 5.7. I thought it was 6 something.
No major casualties reported. Now that's good. And so there's our 5 top news stories according to Grok this week.
Well, Brightmore adds that LA County issued a state of emergency in response to the ICE operation in LA. There you go. That's taking a page from Trump's playbook. We'll just declare our own emergency.
Yeah.
And therefore we can do whatever we want. And Brightmore says, let's blame climate change instead of geoengineering and 5G. Yeah, no, this is, and you know what? It was actually in the book yesterday too, where he referenced fossil fuels
Hmm.
as doing so much damage to the planet. And again, the biggest damage that we're doing to the planet comes from all of the habitat destruction that we are doing in order to raise livestock. And how much land is necessary to continue raising livestock?
That's a huge problem because so many people are just absolutely certain that God wants us to eat meat.
Right.
And that's, you and I disagree with that very strongly, but most people are still, I want, grass fed, as long as it's grass fed, no, no antibiotics, no GMOs. And maybe so. I mean, people survived on it for thousands of years, and some people have, lived a long lives eating,
Absolutely.
on that family cattle farm. So
Yeah. But that it's funny you bring up grass fed, and that kind of touches on this thing that's driving me crazy these days. And I've referred to it as shaming shorthand, and I need a better description because we have to come up with a hook. Everything, there's got to be some phrase, some hook that we can use to um, to communicate something, whether it's negative or positive. Grass fed, it's a positive thing. It
yeah,
means that we are treating the cattle much better. We are being humane in the way that we are raising these cattle,
yeah,
and they are healthier because grass fed is full of that messaging that it's healthier, it's better for the planet, it's better for the cattle, it's better for us. So we're going to put this grass fed, but everything has to have a hook. And the one that's making me crazy right now is no kings. Oh my God. Why do we have to have this cutesy hook for our protests? God knows that in the 60s, we had a march on the Pentagon. That describes exactly what happened. We had, the march on the mall. It describes exactly what happened. We didn't have to come up with those cutesy hooks, no kings, and then, wear those stupid hats. And oh my gosh, everything has to have some cleverness wrapped around it. We have to package all of these things that in just 2 or 3 words, we can communicate so much that is not necessarily true or not necessarily good or not necessarily in our best interest. But yet we've got these cutesy little, oh my gosh, names.
I want to go back to destroying habitat because it's not just livestock raising. It's not just that kind of, large area farming. It's also resource extraction. And I think between the two, resource extraction seems to me to be the one that's obvious and that people can stand up against. The Pebble Mine in Alaska, the idea of, uh, you know, building a dam to power data centers, for instance, or anytime that you find some valuable minerals under the ground, well, you start scheming on how to get it out of the ground, and it doesn't matter, what the ground looks like after you're done, or even if there's even any ground left, because you can just dig a big hole like we did all over the Southwest, digging for uranium. And the Navajo place people, I'll never forget speaking to a Navajo woman about 2 years ago, and she has lung cancer. And she
Mm.
says, everybody in my village has it because we breathe the dust from the uranium mines. And this Navajo nation has been kicked out of the Grand Canyon, kicked out of the places, where they naturally would be living.
Yeah,
And
now.
on behalf of tourists. And I love the Grand Canyon, it's beautiful, but I don't know why it couldn't still be belonging to the Navajos if they had it for thousands of years. But digging for lithium, digging for uranium, digging for all of these metals And then China, of course, China is so big and so mountainous. It's got so much of the rare earths that are so useful to people building computer chips.
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, just today I was reading about the percentages of minerals that come from China, and it's quite breathtaking. It's huge. And that's, part of this whole thing with China saying, we're not going to allow our resources, you know, until certain conditions are met. And I looking to see if I could find it very quickly because the numbers were pretty impressive of what percentage of some of these minerals come from China. And you make such an important point that, so much of this degradation of habitat does come from mining and mining minerals and
Yeah.
removing the minerals from the ground. Absolutely. I've got to remember that when I get on my rants about livestock production.
Yeah, livestock production is a horrible thing when you look at places like in Argentina and in Brazil and just destroying the rainforest in order to grow more cows.
Oh, definitely in South America. It really is quite sad what's being done to the environment down there.
I will say one thing about No King's Day.
Okay.
I would say this. The original No King's Day was July the 4th, 1776.
Yay. Oh, play your
That-
little wait. Play your little applause. Absolutely.
That was No King's Day.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
And in a little more than 6-7 months, we're going to have the 250th anniversary of No King's Day. July the 4th, 2026, 250 years. President Trump intends to make a big deal about it. He's going to celebrate it. What I want to know is, are the people going to No King's Day on Saturday, are they going to go out and celebrate the 250th anniversary of the real No King's Day on July the 4th of 2026? I want to see them all out there.
Do you think they are?
I don't know. I do not know. I kind of feel like anything Trump wants them to do, they're not going to do. Just to be perverse, which is their thing. They like to be perverse.
Well, those who are trying to discredit these protesters are calling it a hate America protest.
Well, I hadn't seen that, but it's not a hate America protest. It's a hate Donald Trump protest.
Oh, absolutely. They're just trying to once again, they're trying to rebrand it because that's what we do now we brand everything.
Oh, I like this from Brightmoor. If I may just put one up, Marcia, grass coated with glyphosate. That's your grass-fed beef for you.
Yeah, and I'm trying. It reminded me there was something about glyphosate in the news recently, but it's not coming to me. But I remember being surprised by it.
Yeah.
Corky's surrounded by TDS,
yeah.
which I seem to always get wrong. Just the other day, you and I were talking, and I said something about DTS, and you went, "You always get that wrong. It's TDS." I don't know why I can't get my head around that.
Because you did too much DLS in the 60s. Marcia's a Trekkie, so I mean,
Yeah, and that's one of the best Trek movies too.
It is. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Chekhov's in the aircraft carrier. Can I go now?
We're talking about Star Trek 4.
With a Russian accent.
That's right. The Ruski with a weapon.
Oh. There's something new. I did not know that there are lithium deposits in Chile.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean,
yeah.
these, if you dig under the mountains, you're going to find all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Everywhere that there's mountains, they're made out of, these geological movements over millions of years, and they've raised things up out of the crust of the earth into the surface. That's where the stuff is.
So is Venezuela going to be the entry point into South America? Once we go into Venezuela, then we can move on. But I'm just trying to picture the geography of South America, and Chile is kind of removed.
It's a long way.
It's quite removed. So you'd have to go through a few other countries before you got to Chile.
Yeah, this warships to Venezuela that's where Trump wants to have his Tomahawk missiles. He wants to go to war in Venezuela and take that country over.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest oil deposit in the world. It hasn't been tapped, hardly been tapped compared to the size of it yet. Yeah, Venezuela is sitting on a whole lot of oil.
Remember that. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, why haven't they tapped it? You look at the Arab world and how so many of these Arab countries are just so wealthy, and in some of these Arab countries, citizens get free electricity, free internet, free all their utilities, free telephone, because the country is so wealthy because of the oil. And why haven't other countries with that kind of oil resources done the same? I don't always understand that.
Well, maybe they just haven't made a deal with Exxon yet.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. Brightmore notes that Trump agreed to a U.S. training facility in Qatar, speaking of the Arab world, for Qatar, not in Qatar. It's going to be in Iowa, I think, this training facility.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, it is weird.
It's weird, but it's not unprecedented. It might be for Qatar, or Qatar, however the proper pronunciation is. But there are other countries who are, who send their troops over for training here at our bases, and it's going to be on a base. So it's not like it's going to be out there in the middle of the community. Now, does this have something to do with that new airplane that we're going to be receiving from Qatar for Air Force One?
I don't know about that. They're building us an Air Force One.
They're giving us a new Air Force One.
Oh boy.
It's worth gajillions of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's a gift to President Bush. And there's this Trump, and there's this controversy about whether or not this is legal. And, is it a gift to him, or is it a gift to the president? And it's going to cost us gajillions of dollars to fit it out, to make it acceptable for use as Air Force One. So I don't quite understand exactly why this is a good thing. But yeah, Qatar is giving Trump a new airplane. And initially they said it was going to be used for his presidential library after he leaves office.
Well, he doesn't read books. Why does he need a library?
So much that could be said. Well, we are running short of time. Okay. Oh, Corky says it's pronounced gutter.
Okay.
So, gutter. I'll remember that.
Okay.
So,
I just want to say, I wish the No Kings people well. I saw their warm-up sheet from the ACLU telling them, to be peaceful and be kind and be nice and, be respectful and say nice things to each other and all that. Say, great, do that. But also think about doing the same thing to people that you don't agree with. Talk to people. You see somebody that you think, is your enemy, but you don't know that until you talk to them. Just because they look like they might have voted for Trump, that doesn't mean they're not a fellow American that wants the best for the country. And I try to give you the same benefit of the doubt that you are my fellow American. You disagree with me on a lot of very important stuff, but come on, let's not turn this into a damn civil war like they want us to.
And you do that. Even in social media, I see where you post saying, hey, those people who believe ABCD, what about DEF? Please explain to me your thinking. It's not like you're out there trying to change everybody's thinking, though sometimes we all do that, but you're interested in hearing from people. And I think that that's such an important point. We got to treat each other with respect and have respectful conversation and listen as well as talk.
Well, we're going to have a nice birthday dinner this afternoon, or this early afternoon, early evening, going to a Indian restaurant over in Virginia. Haven't been there before. Going with a couple of a couple that are friends of ours, and I love Indian food as long as it's not as long as it's mild. I'm other than that, but I do. It's vegetarian. It's vegan. It's fresh, and man, do they know spices. They know spices so well.
They do. And flavor, just flavor in general. They're not afraid of flavor.
That's right. So I'm looking forward to that and the rest of my birthday here with Marcia. And I guess that's enough for right now.
Thank you all for being here. Happy birthday, John. And have a great weekend.
All right, everybody, thanks again. And we will see you Monday for another edition of Undo the Coup.